Hey everyone, this video is going to explain the homework assignments listed in the Week 6 module. So when you clicked on the tab for Week 6 homework assignments, you saw that there were 3 subtabs listed. The first subtab is to read Chapter 9. Once again, don't feel like you have to spend a great deal of time going over the chapter. Just hit the highlights and make sure that you understand the major points presented in the chapter. The next item, the next sub-tab for Week 6 homework assignments is Project Part 2. So remember, Project Part 2 is a mandatory class component. It must be submitted in order to pass the class, and you must receive my feedback on it before you move on to Project Part 3. If you're working on these items in the correct order and you're not submitting things super late, that won't be a problem. If you submit Project Part 2 by its due date, you will get my feedback on it before it's time to start working on Project Part 3. However, if you are starting to fall behind at this point and you are submitting Project Part 2 late, remember, you need my feedback on it before you can do Project Part 3. Hopefully none of us run into that problem. Hopefully we're pretty much keeping on schedule, at least with the project parts. So what is Project Part 2? Project Part 2 is all about your claim and your support. So for step 1, there are a couple tasks. Step 1, we're working on the claim. So task A asks you to state your working claim. This is not set in stone, right? We haven't even gotten to a rough draft of the essay yet. This is your working claim. As of right now, what do you envision your claim to be, your thesis statement? Remember, a thesis statement is not a question, and it's not a title. It's not just a phrase. It is a complete sentence that tells us your specific focus topic and your stance on the topic. This is an argumentative, a persuasive research paper. So what are you trying to persuade us of? Again, not set in stone, but tell me what you have as of right now. Then I want you for task B, tell me what type of claim is it? Is it a claim of fact, which could include a claim of definition or a claim of cause? Is it a claim of value, or is it a claim of policy? So hopefully you have done the in-class work for Week 6, which included the chapter on arguing value. So we looked at a PowerPoint on arguing value, and we looked at 3 sample essays on arguing value. We will also be looking at claims of cause and claims of policy. So you still have some examples coming your way. So this could change also, the type of claim you're working with. But as of right now, what do you think the type of claim is? You have your working claim up in task A, what you envision your claim is going to be, and then what type of claim it is as of right now. None of this is set in stone, okay? If you want to make sure you know which type of claim you're working for, you can use the bullet points there under task B to kind of help you out. If it's a claim of fact, then it answers questions like, did it happen or does it exist? If it's a claim of definition, it answers questions like, what is it or how can I define it? If you think it's a claim of cause, then it should answer questions like, what caused it or what are the effects? If you think it's a claim of value, then your claim should answer questions like, is it good or bad? What criteria do I use to help decide? Is it harmful or beneficial? We just learned about claims of value, so if you're working with a claim of value, that should come out to you pretty easily right now. If it's a claim of policy, then it's more about what should be done. What action am I recommending? So you can use those questions to kind of help you figure out what type of claim you have right now. But you can always ask me to, ask for my opinion on it. Task C, I want you to tell me what your reasons are for supporting your claim. What do you think your main points will be in the body of your essay? And then what types of, for task D, what types of support and proof do you plan on using? What do you think will work well to convince your readers? Think back to all the different types of support we've learned about. Evidence, which includes authorities, testimony, facts, and statistics. Examples, which include allusions, anecdotes, illustrations, and scenarios. And then our appeals. You have your appeals to ethos, pathos, and logos, right? So what types of support, what types of proof do you envision using, and which ones do you think are going to work best to help persuade your readers to see your point of view? And then for task E, I want you to discuss as many possible opposing viewpoints that you can think of. And for each one that you list, briefly explain why each of them would oppose your claim. What are their claims, right? We're dealing with the opposition a little bit. Step 2, we're getting more into the support. You've already talked about what types of support and proofs you plan on using, but now we're going to be looking at the actual sources. So for task F, you need to find 2 to 3 sources to support your claim. You're going to find those 2 to 3 sources. You're going to list those sources with proper APA format reference entries. And then underneath each reference entry, I want you to just in a sentence or two explain why you want to use that source. So let's say the first source you have found to help support your argument is from an article that you read in a magazine. Give me the reference entry, as if, just like it would appear on your reference page at the end of your essay. Give me the reference entry for that article. And then right underneath the reference entry, just give me a couple sentences telling me why you are going to use that source. What information is in it that you think is going to be useful to help persuade your readers. 2 to 3 sources to support your claim. And do that for each of those 2 to 3 sources. Task G, you have to find at least one source that supports an opposing viewpoint, okay? And do the same thing. Give me the reference entry for it, and then underneath it, explain how it offers an opposing viewpoint and how you plan to use it in your argument. Because you have to use at least one source from the opposition in the final draft of the essay. So we're kind of getting a head start on this. We're finding the sources now, and you're starting to think about why you want to use these sources. So 2 to 3 that support your claim, and at least one that deals with an opposing point of view. Reference entry for each one, and a sentence or two underneath each entry telling me why you are going to use that source. That, finding the sources might be a little time consuming, but don't make this part harder than it has to be. Just the reference entry, 1 or 2 sentences underneath each one. That's it. Step 3 for project part 2 is potential problems, right? So discuss your concerns. Take a moment to share with me any concerns you might have at this point. Are there any problems you're having or any problems you can foresee having as you start working more on the essay? Do you have any possible solutions that you've already come up with to these problems? Would you like to ask me for any guidance or any advice? Here's your chance, right? You'll do it in a Word document and upload it. If you have any questions about it, please let me know, okay? And then the third item listed for homework in the week 6 module is, of course, the week 6 discussion. When you get there, we've gone back to a visual. I know last week in week 5, you looked at a text. You looked at the Declaration of Independence. This week for week 6, we're looking at another advertisement, and it's one from, I believe, the 70s or 80s, and it's for maiden form, undergarments, bras, and panties. So you'll study the image and then answer the questions in your post. Make sure you post your first one by Thursday night at 11:59 p.m. and then make sure you respond to 2 classmates by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. before the discussion closes. Remember, once the discussion closes, I am unable to reopen it. If you have any questions about the discussion, please let me know. If you have any technical difficulties with the discussion, please let me know right away. If you have any questions about project part 2 or the week 6 discussion, I'm here for you. Otherwise, I look forward to getting your information from project part 2. I'm excited to see what you guys are working towards and excited to see what you have to say about the ad for the week 6 discussion.